I know I don't like come off this way, but I'm pretty high-minded when it comes to political principle. At least I try to be. But it seems like a lot of our government operates on a series of gentlemen's agreements that aren't in effect anymore. Like a lot of
Yeah.
it works only if like the Republicans, the Democrats, and everyone else have a set of baseline decent beliefs that they'll hold to, that we can always trust them to defer to in times of political crisis or uncertainty. And it seems like with the Republicans, they have completely dropped that. The big lie, like, gave any chance of that being the case the boot out the door. They will do and say anything. And if you're not willing to at least adjust your strategy after that, you're basically giving them future wins over nothing, which is unacceptable to me, given the harm that could do.
I agree, and I actually get a little pushback on this one aspect, though. I think bipartisanship is important. What are your thoughts on Joe Biden's approach to bipartisanship?
I guess I like it in concept. I just don't know if it can work anymore because it feels like the Republicans are fucking insane. It seems it's gone beyond like realpolitik too. Like it seems like so much of it is driven by raw personality cult beyond anything else. That I like bipartisanship in concept. I mean, I like governments to get along. Not everything should be like a drag out fight. It's like wrestling now, you know? It's like infuriating to watch this because like Republicans will lie so confidently and so frequently and sometimes for no benefit to them or their opponents. They just do it by default. So in that environment, I wish that Biden came down on them a lot harder than he does now, you know? Maybe the American electorate, at least the independents, if they can't be woken up to the Democrats being good, maybe they can be convinced the Republicans are dangerous. Because Lord knows the Republicans are trying to do that nationwide, right? Maybe Democrats should push on the fearmonger angle a little more. It'd be more warranted than anything the Republicans fearmonger over. What are they complaining about? Trans people in bathrooms? I mean, nothing compared to what they're capable of.
Yeah, they're going to run on pure culture wars going into midterms. Did you follow the California recall election closely? And I only bring this up because of you said that fear mongering, and I think we did do some of that on the left in that race.
Yeah, I think I actually caught up all on it like the day before the actual vote took place. Because I'm not in California anymore, and I feel like a poser weighing in on their issues now. But yeah, I'm really glad because Larry Elder was insane.
Yes.
Like absolutely insane. I'm very happy that he didn't win. But that's going to be like the future of the party, right? I mean,
yeah.
It seems like Marjorie Taylor Greene is like the blueprint for the modern Republican, you know? So
100%. Yeah. And I was really happy to see the California Dems and Gavin Newsom lay into the fear mongering, saying, look at Texas, look at Florida, look what they're doing with their COVID extremism. That's going to be California. Do you want that here? And that's what we're going to run on in the midterms. So the Republicans are just handing us this wonderful thing that we can ignore everything else and just say, those guys are nuts. You don't want that, because Trumpism is still on the ballot, which is great for us.
Yeah, it's if people like wake up to it, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I feel like most everyone in America already has an opinion on Trump, you know? So there probably isn't like a huge block of potential voters who are just waiting to hear the right Trump bad argument to be moved over. But I feel like not enough independents who don't like Trump are fully aware of the threat that he poses, you know? A lot of them seem to dislike him because he's like rude or boorish or kind of stupid, you know? Not because he poses an existential threat to democracy. Maybe that'll change with time when people see that's a whole Republican Party thing and not just a Trump bad thing. Maybe the universality of the problem will convince people.
Yeah, I think this is a great point you're making here, because we need a viable partner to work with on the right. I get so much grief when I say this, but we need some sort of capable representation over there, maybe like Mitt Romney, Susan Collins types that we can actually work with, because they represent a lot of people. And we're kidding ourselves if we think we're going to convince everybody to think like we do over on the left.
I'll say, if the bipartisanship is going to happen, it has to come from them. Because, like, from my perspective, like, they were so unwilling to drop the party mantle that they were willing to essentially aid and abet a fascist. Not the sort of latent fascism of like Reagan's America or whatever, where you have all the like pieces being set up, but pretty open, like anti-democratic leaders being bolstered by the entire Republican Party. They all pushed it, and the ones who didn't were too scared to speak up about it because they knew they would be like called out by Trump on Twitter if they ever said anything to contradict him. So if there are any Republicans for whom I think bipartisanship is warranted, it's going to be those who are willing to hurt their re-election chances by openly speaking out against what's happening, and not just in some like minor performative Trump doo-doo head big meanie kind of way, but in a sort of substantive refutation of the behavior of the Republican Party. And I don't know if there's any saving that. The whole Republican Party went with it, you know? Like, even the never-Trumpers fell in line like they always do, the bootlicking scum, every single time. They have no principles. So, I don't know what the likelihood is that they're gonna, like, move away from that towards certain electoral defeat by distancing themselves from the most popular and energized Republican base, which are Trumpers. Maybe they will, and if they do, then I'd rather have them in Congress than like full-on lunatics like Marjorie Taylor, but who knows?
Yeah, she gets a lot of attention because of all the crazy stuff she does, but there are plenty of people working to try to take back their party. I look at people like Liz Cheney, who Donald Trump has picked a fight with, and she seems up for it. And maybe the January 6th Select Committee can, through their subpoena power, get some of these people to say some things that can bring their party back. I don't know, but there are some fighters, and as strange as it is, I try to support them to some degree so that we get rid of this insanity. But I don't know. You're right. It's up to them. They're gonna have to figure it out. I think that they see the writing on the wall, that their party is falling out of favor. And, I look at states like Texas, where Obama lost by 16% in 2012. And then Clinton lost by, I think, 9%, and then Biden lost by 6%. So things are shifting in this country, and these people are holding on for dear life to their power, and they'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. If they've already established that they're the type of politicians who are willing to side with fascists if it's politically expedient, I don't have much hope for the future of the party. They might just be waiting for the next charismatic leader to take over, right? It's possible that some ideological trends in the modern world are just patently unacceptable because their moderate elements only serve to lay the groundwork for the inevitable, like, populist leader who will seize the reins and use them towards much more objectively evil ends. And if that's the case, I mean, that's an argument, I guess, just in favor of moving the Overton window as far away from where Republicans are as possible.
Yeah, it's a difficult partner that we have here.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's why I get so taken aback when people focus their energy on individuals like Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema. Where do you fall on these characters?
I do think there's an overemphasis on them. I mean, I think they're scum, don't get me wrong, but it betrays like a misunderstanding of the people who voted them in. Do you think the people who voted in Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema would have voted for, like, who was that Bernie Krat, that Justice Dem who tried to vote against them? I forget her. She's a full-on, like, Jimmy Dore anti-AOC type on Twitter now, so we dodged a bullet with that one. Yeah, with people like that, like, what do you think the populations to those groups are, you know? Like, do you think that they would vote for AOC if they could? They would vote for Republican if they could.
Right.
Right, so we should probably focus on the things that we can change. It's easy to hyperfixate on them, but every midterm, every election, there are dozens of purple districts out there that don't get anywhere near that much attention. And I think, and that's one of the districts I'd like to focus on in the coming midterm when I try to get people out there to canvass, because potentially just changing a few House seats or one Senate seat, I mean, that could make all the difference. Just nobody talks about those because they don't draw the attention of Kyrsten Sinema's seething hatred for poor people, or Joe Manchin thinking that compromising isn't enough of a compromise for the compromise that he wants, or whatever.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunity to shift some more centrist Democrats into a progressive, somebody's progressive. There was like a race in Texas with a woman named Jessica Cisneros, who was a progressive, and she had a pretty good chance against this guy, Henry Cuellar, but she didn't get any attention. And so You know, she couldn't get any help. Everybody was focused on more high-profile races. So that would be cool to see you pick maybe a lower-profile race and see if you can help a progressive get in there. That would be awesome. Is that something you're thinking about doing, getting more involved with on-the-ground stuff?
Yeah, I'd like that. It's good community building. Also, it might make some of my followers less suicidal, because touching grass and going outside is way more healthy with regards to political action than whatever the fuck it is I do online. So it'll be a good tanning exercise for them. Yeah, I've talked with some people and I've got some preliminary stuff in mind, but there are a lot of pieces I need to see fall into place before I can make any final plans. But the goal would be to like try to spend like a month or so directing heavy on the ground movement, of which I'd be able to oversee at least parts of it, because I can't take a whole month off streaming or whatever, and that would take popularity away from the project. So it'd be a matter of balancing all the factors involved, you know?
Hell yeah. Yeah. Have you done any door knocking in your time?
Yeah, I've done canvassing before. I actually did a lot of like direct work back in the day, before whatever the fuck it is I do now. I was the president of the Sociology and Criminology Club back in my university, so I had to direct a bunch of like fundraising efforts, and we would like, you know, try to like poll opinions, and we would organize campaigns, and we did this big project called the Pacific Criminological... Oh god, I've forgotten the name. Holy shit. Well, it was a big thing. It was the largest of its kind in the entire state. Northern part of the state? Whatever it was a good time, and it took a lot of work, so I'm confident that we'll be able to make this work.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. I'll keep an eye out, see if I
Criminal
can't come
Justice
out.
Dialogue, that was called. Thank you. Thank you, Vermin, sorry. Ah! Oh, God.